The Golden State Warriors just left us all speechless. As you all know, the Warriors are currently on a 5-game winning streak and recently beat the Dallas Mavericks, and they are starting to creep their way back into a great playoff spot. In today's video, we're going to be going through 5 key players that have helped them get on this 5-game win streak, and how these 5 players can also help them in the playoffs and help them win another NBA championship. So make sure to like this video, and guys, 92% of you are still not subscribed to the channel, so it'd mean the world if you could subscribe to the channel, hitting that red button down below. The first is that Andrew Wiggins carried this team in scoring. So Andrew Wiggins had himself a fantastic game, not just on defense, but on offense as well. Andrew Wiggins was actually the highest point scorer in this team, where he had himself 23 points. On top of that, he also had 1 steal, 1 block, 4 rebounds, and also 2 assists. But where we see the most impressive thing about Andrew Wiggins was actually his efficiency from the field. He actually went 8 from 16 from the field, which shot at 50%, but his 3-point percentage was even better because he went 3 from 5, which is a 60% 3-point percentage, and also went 100% from the free throw line as well. So not only did he drop 23 points, but he did it in such a high efficiency, it is honestly insane. And add on top of that, the amount of defense Andrew Wiggins was playing out there was honestly fantastic. And this is what we really want from Wiggins, especially moving forward. We all know he is a great defender, and it may not show up in the stat sheet, but we all know that he is a very vital player when it comes to guarding a lot of the main players in these other teams. Whether in this case, if it was Kyrie, Luka Doncic at times, or even PJ Washington and Derrick Jones Jr., Andrew Wiggins did a fantastic job on switches and being able to control the defense as much as he could. But on offense, he definitely showed out in this game, and he definitely carried, especially since Steph and Curry was having himself a really poor shooting night. If we look at Steph, he went 5 from 18, which isn't too bad, but also went 3 from 5 from the 3-point line as well, which he made up for. But he did only drop 13 points, and because of that, Wiggins was able to carry that and take them to victory with a 104-100 win. I think where Wiggins did a very good job was not only just his 3-point percentage, but also his ability to really attract a lot of defense and to find open players. He may not have only dished out 2 assists in this game, but he did start a lot of offense, and I think that's what's most important, because this Warriors team is a free-flowing type offense, and it really did start with Wiggins during this game against the Dallas Mavericks. The second is Chris Paul leading the second unit. And I think this is super important, but as you all know, Chris Paul has moved actually to the bench, and although it may be sad for some Warriors fans, it has actually been very beneficial for the second unit, especially for this Golden State Warriors. Now that they are on a win streak, I definitely do have to give credit where credit is due, but CP3 has done a fantastic job of being able to control the offense for that second unit, especially alongside players such as Payton, Moody, Podziemski, and Looney, who are the main players coming off the bench. When it comes to CP3 in this matchup against Dallas Mavericks, he did have himself 14 points, 5 assists, and 1 rebound. Now, it may not be crazy amount of stats, but he did a fantastic job out there in general, as he was able to really control the offense, and he also had one of the highest box plus minus score at +8. The only other player higher than him was actually Podziemski in this matchup, but when it comes to CP3, not just in this game, but all the games that we have seen the Golden State Warriors currently winning, we definitely see CP3 being a huge asset, especially coming off the bench. He controls the offense in a different way than Steph and Curry, and although he may not be putting MVP type numbers like he was back in the day, I think CP3 has definitely been a great leadership, especially for the second unit where they needed it the most. Now, this is no diss at Jordan Poole, but when Jordan Poole was a part of this team, yes, he was a great scorer, but it was very difficult for him to lead that second unit, and I think CP3 definitely adds that, especially with a lot of young players coming from the bench, whether it's Payton, Moody, even Podziemski, and even at times when Jonathan Kuminga is back, Trayce Jackson-Davis. So the fact that he is able to really control the offense, I think, has been a huge plus. But when it comes to CP3 in this matchup, he also went 6 from 11 from the field and also went 2 from 3 from the 3-point line. We have seen over the last couple of games CP3 really improve in 3-point shooting, and I think it will continue on into these next games, as I think he is starting to find his groove and find the way to score, especially for this Warriors team. I don't think the Warriors and Warriors fans are expecting him to drop 20-25 points. I think around that 10-15 point range is definitely where he's at, but if he is able to control the offense like he did in this matchup against Dallas, especially against the bench of the other team, I think that is where CP3 is definitely going to be needed the most. The third is that Brandin Podziemski continues to be a great 6-man. So as you all know, Podziemski has been a huge asset for this Warriors team, especially in his rookie season, but he continues to surprise us to show what he's capable of doing. He actually had himself the highest box plus minus in this game at plus 17, and he was actually the only person to have a double-digit box plus minus. So I think that was honestly huge from him, but when it comes to Podziemski in this matchup, he had himself 5 points, 5 assists, and also 10 rebounds, which I think was great. And also went 2 from 4 from the field and also 1 from 1 from the 3-point line. But you do have to remember, sometimes it doesn't always show up in the stat sheet, and what he was doing out there was honestly fantastic for this team. And there's a reason why he actually had the 3rd most minutes out of any other player in this Golden State Warriors at 31 minutes. Podziemski does everything out there, not just rebounding, but his defense is honestly second to none. I think what makes him a great defender is his ability to really read the defense and to be able to switch pretty aggressively, especially when it comes to going on bigger defenders, whether it was all the way to PJ Washington, Derrick Jones Jr., or even Daniel Gafford at times. So the fact that he was able to get 10 rebounds as a guard as well and be tied as the highest rebounder in that Golden State Warriors was honestly fantastic to see. If we also look at the Dallas Mavericks, the only other player in that Dallas Mavericks team to get double-digit rebounds was only luka, doncic. So Podziemski pretty much out-rebounded everyone in that Dallas team as well, and it does show just how valuable he is when it comes to being a part of this roster. Having him come off the bench, I think, is also a huge plus. To have a player of his caliber to be able to play the defense that he does play and have him team up with players like Chris Paul and Moses Moody coming off the bench, I think is going to be fantastic for the future and also for the future of this season as well, as they are heading into playoff and championship territory. The fourth is that Golden State Warriors as a team shot absolutely lights out. Now, I have said this over the last couple of games, but when it comes to the Golden State Warriors winning, what we see is a huge correlation with the efficiency that they are also shooting at as well. If we also look at Dallas Mavericks in this matchup, you'll definitely see a huge discrepancy. So starting off with the Warriors from the field shot 45.6%, which was great. They actually went 41 from 90. And if we look at the Dallas Mavericks, they went 39 from 89, which was 43.8%. So it was a little bit of a difference there of around 2%, not anything major, and could definitely go both ways. But when we look at the 3-point, that is where we definitely see a huge difference. If we look at the Golden State Warriors, they actually shot 47% from the 3 as a team. Guys, that is honestly insane. To put in perspective, 34%, 35% is roughly the average a 3-point shooting percentage is for any team. And the fact that they beat that by 10% and have not only done it in this game, but also throughout this whole win streak is honestly really impressive to see. Now, when we look at Dallas Mavericks, they only shot 37%, so roughly around that average range. And Dallas Mavericks also shot 63% from the free throw line, where the Golden State Warriors shot 100%. So this is where we see a huge discrepancy between the two, and this is why I absolutely love where the Warriors are going. Even with Stephen Curry having himself such a struggling shooting night, the Warriors were still able to get it done as a team, and I think that is what makes this team completely special. Like I always say, when it comes to a 7-game series, I don't really see any other team beating the Golden State Warriors, and that is where it comes to the playoffs. I think a lot of teams now, they are looking at the Warriors and not really taking them seriously due to the fact that they're so low in the Western Conference. But firstly, they are creeping up, and secondly, guys, the regular season is completely different to the playoffs. And this is why you see some teams that always come first or second in the Eastern or Western Conference don't end up getting to the finals or even winning the championship. And because when it comes playoff time, it is a completely different ballgame. And I think this is what we're going to see over the next couple of games and also heading into the playoff season. The fifth is that Draymond Green continues to be a huge asset for this team. Now, as you all know, when it comes to Draymond Green, a lot of Warriors fans I have seen in the comments and also ESPN analysts have said that it may be time to move on from Draymond Green. But I completely disagree, because I think Draymond Green is still a huge asset. Now, I do agree, he definitely needs to fix his ways, especially when it comes to him getting ejected, as he is a vital asset to this team, which is why we do all want to see him on the court. But when it comes to this matchup against Dallas, he had himself 11 points, 8 rebounds, 6 assists, 4 steals, and also 1 block. So he absolutely filled up the stat sheet, almost got himself a triple-double, was close when it came to rebounds and assists, but overall did a fantastic job and also shot 5 from 8 from the field. What I love most about Draymond Green and what he is capable of doing for this team is that you definitely see him being the glue for this team when it comes to defense. He's not only a defensive juggernaut, but he's definitely the anchor that they all need, and the leadership that he really does provide, being a very vocal player out there for the Warriors, has definitely paid a lot of dividends in the future. I do believe having him back into the starting lineup was honestly good to see. We actually saw him at times come off the bench, but I think Draymond Green does deserve that starting position. But on top of that, I think his leadership is definitely what sets him apart and why he's such a vital asset for this team. When we look at Steph in this matchup, yes, he did a pretty good job when it came to rebounds and assists. He was struggling a bit from the field, and I think Draymond did a great job at being able to actually help him in these situations and be able to carry this team to victory. So Draymond not only helped this team get this win, but I think Draymond has really been a huge asset when it comes to this win streak that they have been on, as he has been a great defensive juggernaut and a great defensive leader. And as we all know, defense not only wins games, but defense wins championships. So it will be needed when the future comes.